Hi, my name is Alan, and today I'm going to be talking about derivatives. I'm going to be talking about three different ways to find the derivative of a function. Right? There are four different ways to find it, but I'm only going to be talking about three. The first way to find the derivative of a function I'm going to be talking about is called the power rule. The power rule. Now, the second one I'm going to be talking about is the product rule. And the third one that I will be talking about is the quotient rule. Okay. Now, let's start with the power rule. Now, the power rule states that if you have a function f of x, for example, is equal to x cubed plus 2x squared minus 6, in order to find the derivative of this function, you basically have to bring down the exponent of the variable down to its coefficient, and then you got to subtract that exponent by 1. So for x cubed here, we have to bring down the 3. So we have a 3 down. And then we have an x, and then we have to subtract a 1 from the 3. And that 3 minus 1 equals 2. So the derivative of x cubed would then be 3x squared. And then you move on to the next variable, which is 2x squared. You have to also bring down the 2 in the coefficient. So you will have 2 times 2x, and you also have to subtract the 1 from the exponent, which gives you 1. Alright? Now, since this 6 doesn't have a variable, it basically goes away. It turns into 0. So that equals to 3x squared plus 4x, and that's the derivative of the function on top. Okay. Now, let's do another problem involving the power rule. Right? Okay. Let's say you have a function f of x. Let's say you have a function f of x is equal to 5x to the 4th plus 3x squared. This is the same method here. So you want to bring down the 4 to the coefficient. So you have 4 times 5x, and then you want to subtract the 1 from the 4. So that gives you a 3. Now, you move on to the next variable, which is 3x squared. You also want to bring down the 2 to the coefficient, and then you want to subtract 1 from the exponent, which gives you a 1. So the derivative of f of x then becomes, and this little apostrophe here means derivative. And the more apostrophes you have, the more derivatives you're going to have. So if you have double apostrophe, that means the second derivative of f of x. If you have triple apostrophes, that means the third derivative of f of x. So f prime of x would then be equal to 20x cubed plus 6x. And that's your derivative.
That's your derivative.
Okay.
Sorry.
And then now we're going to move on to the product rule. Now, the product rule basically states that if you have a function h of x is equal to f of x, times g of x. H prime of x, meaning the derivative of h of x, is going to be equal to the derivative of f of x times g of x plus g prime of x times f of x. Simple, right? Now, let's do a problem. Let's say we have a function h of x is equal to x squared plus 5 times x minus 2. Now, in this case, as you can see, f of x is equal to x squared plus 5, and g of x is equal to x minus 2. Okay? So h prime of x then equals x squared plus 5 times the derivative of x minus 2, and the derivative of x is 1, because when you bring down the exponent 1, you have to subtract the 1, so you're left with a 0 as an exponent, which gives you 1, plus x minus 2 times the derivative of x squared plus 5. You bring down the 2 in the exponent, so you have 2, and then you subtract the 1 from the exponent, which gives you x, and then the 5 goes away. Alright, so h prime of x is basically equal to x squared plus 5 plus 2x squared minus 4x, and that's h prime x. Okay? Now, let's move on to the third and last rule, which is the quotient rule. The quotient rule basically states that if you have a function h of x is equal to f of x divided by g of x, h prime of x will then be equal to f prime of x times g of x minus g prime of x times f of x divided by g of x squared. Alright? And mind you that you always have to start by taking the derivative of the numerator. If you start by taking the derivative of the denominator, you're not going to get the correct answer. Always have to take the derivative of the numerator first. Okay. Alright, let's do a practice problem. Let's say you have a function h of x is equal to x squared plus 2 divided by x cubed minus 1. H prime of x then equals to, take the derivative of the numerator first, which is going to be 2x, because you bring down the 2 in the coefficient, and then you subtract the 1 from the exponent, and then the 2 goes away because it doesn't have any x's on it. Right? Times g of x, which is x cubed minus 1, minus the derivative of the denominator, which is 3x squared, because you bring down the 3 in the exponent, and then you subtract the 1 from the exponent. You bring down the 3 in the coefficient, and then you subtract the 1 from the exponent. So that gives you 3x squared, and then the 1 basically goes away, times x squared plus 2 divided by x cubed minus 1 squared. Right? So if you simplify that, you basically get 2x to the 4th power minus 2x minus 3x to the 4th power minus 6x squared. Alright? You simplify these two because they look alike. So that basically gives you negative x to the 4th power minus 2x minus 6x squared divided by x cubed minus 1 squared. And that's your derivative. I mean, you can keep simplifying it, but at this point it doesn't really matter that much. Okay. And that's basically the last rule I'm going to talk about today. Yeah, derivative. And just in case, on the 4th rule is called the chain rule, but I'm not going to talk about it today. All right. Thank you.